Hello everyone, this is Rakesh here and welcome to the session of design pattern. So in this series what we will discuss? We will discuss the what are the category of the design patterns and their design patterns. In one session I will cover one design pattern. So we will cover all the design pattern. Now what we will talk about today? We will talk about today what is design pattern, why design pattern is required, and what are the category of the design pattern, and what all the design patterns comes under the each category. So let's begin with our session. So before I start my today's session, I would like to discuss who introduced this design pattern. So this design pattern is introduced by the four guys, that is Erich, Richard, Johnson and John. These guys are culprit who introduced the design pattern. So this is the brief history of the design pattern. So let's discuss the what is design pattern. So design pattern is nothing but a general solution, or I can say the technique which is used to solve the commonly occurring problem in object oriented programming. And guys, this is just a technique. It's not the I can say the set of instruction or pseudocode which directly can transform into the code. It's just technique and it is applicable only on the object oriented programming. So this is all about the design pattern. If you don't understand this definition, then don't worry about this. Once you will watch the video of the other design patterns, then you will come to know what is the importance of the design pattern. So moving on to the next item, which is why we use the design pattern. So of course each and everything has their own purpose. So if we have some existing mechanism, or I can say the system, and we are bringing something new, then of course it will bring something new and good for us. So that's what the design pattern is also. So so now let's say I will explain why design pattern is required with the help of one example. So as you can see over here, I have created one program. Okay, in that program I have created classes A, B, C, D up to Z. Okay, and one client code. Client code is nothing but where is the functionality being called, or where is the feature being used. That is the client. And guys, remember this client definition throughout my entire design pattern series. So what I have done, I have created few classes over here and client. So what is this, what I am trying to achieve here? I am trying to implement one notepad application. One notepad application which allows me to enter some alphabet. So in order to implement this application, what I need to do? I need to create all the object at the compile time only, or I can say the before the compile time. Okay, so although I am using all the 26 character, or even though I am writing only one character, I need to create all the object at the client side. So what is the problem over here? The problem over here is, suppose if I am writing one word, or I can say the one keyword, one letter, then also I need to create the 26 object. So this is what is now what is happening over here, since I am creating 26 object. So as how much space you are occupying unnecessary. Although I am using only let's say for example I am typing I, only I am using I character. So the object of I only is supposed to create, correct? So over here, if I am not following the design pattern, then what I need to do, I need to create all the 26 object. Because why? At what moment I need to use all the 26 character. So this is why we need to create the object at the compile time, or I can say the before the compile time. So this is the one problem over here. So in short, what I say, although we are not using all the 26 object, but we have to create, and because of that the memory will be wasted. So second problem, here we cannot achieve the dynamic binding. Here the static binding is happening. So these are the problem associated, and so many problems associated with this conventional approach. So because of that, we have to use our design pattern, and all these problems will be solved by the design pattern. How it will? I will give you one example. You can see over here, same set of classes I have created, but in between the client code and the my classes, alphabet classes, I have introduced one more class that is called a factory. Okay, what the purpose of this factory is return the object based upon the requirement. I will pass some indicator to this factory class, and based upon that indicator, it will return the object of particular class. So this is the one advantage. So you will see so many advantages as we will discuss the design patterns. You will come to know which design pattern suits your problem. So this is the benefit of design pattern. So I hope you understood the importance of the design pattern. And if you don't understand, don't worry. Watch this video, other videos. You will come to know. You will get to know that what is the use of the design pattern. Moving on to the next item, which is your categories of the design pattern. So there are 4 categories of the design pattern. First one is our creational design pattern. Second one is structural design pattern. Third one is behavioral design pattern, and fourth one is concurrency design pattern. So these are the categories. In these categories, so many design patterns will come into the picture. So we will discuss this one by one in upcoming slides. So let's discuss the creational design pattern. So what is creational design pattern? Creational design pattern is nothing but it deals with the object creation logic, or what, in other words, I can say we want to create the object in most effective or efficient way. So this is the creational design pattern, and in creational design pattern, whatever the design patterns comes under the creational design pattern, it will deal with the object creation logic. Other than that, it don't deal. It will, if something is different, then it will come under the structural or behavioral or concurrency. So wherever the logic wants that I want to create in most efficient way object, then that design patterns comes under the creational design pattern. So this is all about the creational design pattern. So let's see what all the design patterns comes under the creational design pattern. So first design pattern is singleton design pattern, factory design pattern, then abstract factory design pattern, and then prototype design pattern, then builder design pattern, then object design pattern. So these are the design patterns comes under the creational design pattern, and all these design pattern we will discuss one by one in upcoming videos. Moving on to the next item, which is your structural design pattern. So what structural design pattern says, it glues the different pieces of the component, or I can say the system, in a such a way that if some component is changes, it won't affect the other component. So this is the structural design pattern. To understand this definition, I don't have any example right now, but you have to watch what all the design patterns comes under the structural design pattern. So at that time you will understand more in detail structural design pattern. So watch my another videos that is on the what all the design patterns comes under the structural design pattern. Moving on to the next item, which is your what all the design patterns comes under the structural design pattern. So first one is adapter design pattern, bridge design pattern, composite design pattern, decorator design pattern, facade design pattern, flyweight design pattern, front controller design pattern, module design pattern, and then proxy design pattern. So these are the design patterns comes under the structural design pattern, and all these design pattern we will discuss in the one by one in the upcoming video. Moving on to the next item, which is your behavioral design pattern. So what behavioral design pattern say? Behavioral design pattern are design pattern that identify common communication pattern between the object and realize these patterns. By doing so, this pattern increase the flexibility in carrying out this communication. So in other words, what I can say, interaction between the object should be in a such a way that they can easily talk to each other, and still it should be loosely coupled. Loosely coupled means our client code and our implementation should not depend on each other. Depend means if I something change in the one object, or I can say the one class, it should not affect my client code. So this is the definition of loosely coupled. So this is all about the behavioral design pattern. So let's see what all the design patterns comes under the behavioral design pattern. The first one, chain of responsibility, command design pattern, iterator design pattern, mediator design pattern, and then observer design pattern, then strategy design pattern, and then template method design pattern, and then visitor design pattern. So these are the design patterns comes under the behavioral design pattern, and also we will discuss all this design pattern one by one in upcoming video. Moving on to the next item, which is your concurrency design pattern. The concurrency design pattern are those design pattern which deals with the multi-threaded programming paradigm. So that is called a concurrency design pattern. And what all the design patterns comes under the concurrency design pattern? Let's see. The first one is thread pool, monitor object, thread specific storage, leader, or I can say the follower, half sync, or I can say the half async, and scheduler. So these are the design patterns comes under the concurrency design pattern. So that's all about the concurrency design pattern. And guys, if you liked my video, then please hit the like button, share it, and if you want to get the regular update on my channel, then don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you so much watching for the video. Bye bye, take care. And guys, subscribe button is here and press here. Thank you so much. Bye bye, take care.